Welcome to Slasher Sunday. So tonight I'm going to be tackling the film Intruder. So I wrote up Paul Shunk, who is a patron of mine. He's been trying to get a pick for me, but he's trying to pick stuff like, found footage films from a different country that I can't get a hold of. And I'm like, dude, I can't review a movie if I can't get a hold of it. So 2 nights ago, I was like, I don't have a Slasher Sunday pick yet. Pick it. Whatever you want, as long as I can get a hold of it. You've got it. And he picked Intruder. Now, this movie is famous for having a cameo by Bruce Campbell and not a starring role, but a secondary role by Sam Raimi. And honestly, on this watch, I haven't watched this in a long time, so my memory of it's extremely hazy. I just remember that Bruce Campbell comes at the very end in the last minute as a cop, and that's it. And I know that kind of annoyed some people, but I just think it's cool to see him. So don't put his name on the cover and trick people into thinking that he's in this movie the whole time. That's where the problem is. Like, if he's just a cameo, that's cool, and just make it like a surprise. And it's like, oh, cool, that's Bruce Campbell. How awesome it is to see him. But this one really just kind of, it does. It throws his name and Sam Raimi's name up on the screen, up on here, like, Sam directed it and Bruce stars in it, like it's some Evil Dead follow-up or something, and that's just not the case. Sam Raimi is in this way more than Bruce, but Sam and Ted are both in this, like, in the film as actors, and holy shit, guys, I didn't know, I couldn't tell the difference. For a few minutes there, I was confused, because I was like, wait, is this character simple-minded, or is he not? I don't understand. And then I was like, oh my god, those are two different characters. I didn't realize that was Ted and Sam. I didn't realize how much they looked alike back then. They look very similar. So I was very confused by that. Anyway, all right, so let's get to the movie. If you haven't seen this movie, I'm going to get into spoilers, but before I do, I will say this. This film, for this one thing alone, is absolutely worth the watch, and I understand why it is revered by some slasher fans as, a top tier level slasher movie, and it's because the gore, the kills are fantastic. I mean, if you get the unrated cut, like I have here, I wish I had the Blu-ray cut, I don't, but I have this DVD, and it is the unrated version, and holy shit, man, the kills in this are gnarly. They are graphic, they are brutal, and they are amazing. So for that alone, A plus. But for the gore effects. Now, I think the rest of the film is mostly bland. I liked the ending. I liked maybe the last 10 minutes because of the killer and his personality and the way he, plays it. But outside of that, it's just kind of generic, and kids are reading lines and waiting their turn to die. They're not that, like, overly annoying character where you're like, oh god, just die already, your character's pissing me off. Nothing like that. It's just kind of like standard fare. It's like, here's some kids doing their thing. If they're trying to be humorous, it's not really working. It's okay. There's some decent jokes in it. It's more horror than comedy, but there is some dark comedy thrown in, and some of it did work, and I'll get to some of those. But overall, I was underwhelmed with the characters and most things outside of the gore. But the gore elevated it that much to where I can absolutely give it a seal of approval, like a must-watch for slasher fans. So that being said, let's get into the film itself. So, Intruder. So Renee Estevez is the secondary, the supporting actress in this, not the lead. And for me, that's a shame, because she should have flipped. Because to me, Renee is gorgeous, and I would have liked her more in the starring role here, and it probably would have elevated the film for me. But unfortunately, she's dispatched of pretty quickly into the film, which is a shame, because Renee's been in a few cool-ass movies, and I dig her as an actress. And as I said, I think she's just a very attractive lady. So, not that this main girl isn't. She's very pretty. I prefer Renee. But that all being said, let's start tackling this thing from the beginning. So they're having like this conversation, the two girls in this movie, Renee and the other girl, and there's a guy in between, and he's getting like, am I interrupting something? They all work at a grocery store, and she's like, oh no, and he goes to pick up his bags, and his shit falls all over the floor because she didn't double bag it, and the guy is just like, oops. There must be a scene cut here. There has to be a scene where she goes and picks up his stuff, because he's not carrying a plastic bag from what I could see in that scene, but when he leaves, he is. But it was funny the way it's cut together, and if they cut out that scene of her picking it up and putting it in a bag, it just looks like he drops his stuff and is like, oops, and like, okay, I guess I'm gonna go, and just leaves all of the food he just bought on the ground. It's really funny how it's edited, but as I said, he's holding a bag, so I have to believe that she bagged it all up for him in a scene that they got rid of. Then her ex-boyfriend shows up and starts getting handsy with her, which these are moments I live for in life. Like, of course I don't want a girl assaulted by any means, but if it's gonna happen, if it just absolutely has to happen, I want to be there for it. I want to be there for it, to walk in, and just handle it. I love that shit. I've done it. I hate that it happens. I know that means it makes it sound like I'm excited when some girl's like physically abused or anything. No, of course not. Don't be an asshole. That's not what I'm saying. But those things do happen. They happen a good amount. And I'm very happy when I get to be there for it. I've been there for it many times at bars, parties, all sorts of things. And most people don't want to do anything. They don't want to step in. I do. I've always said I'm probably going to get my ass killed defending somebody or something out in public, because I'm the guy who always stands up and says something. But yeah, it's just those kinds of moments. I'm just like, oh, you done fucked up now. Shit. So these guys all tackle him, try to handle him, but man, this guy's tough. He can throw off like 4 of them and then go hide in the grocery store while everyone else seems to get back to work. And a couple guys go and try to hunt him down. And then, so he's just loose in the store, and they don't know what happened to him, so it's just back to work, I guess. And they call the cops, and the cops, of course, don't show up for a very long time. And then the employees are told in the meantime that the store is getting sold. Here's the first plot point, and probably the only one that's going to lead us to who our killer is in the end. And so the cops finally show after an extended period of time, as movies always portray. And they, of course, also, as movies always portray, if convenient for the plot, are extremely incompetent. Like, they actually probably did need the music that they put into Halloween 5, like the clown music. Oh my God, why does that exist? It's the worst thing ever. That is one of the worst fucking decisions in history. Which is funny because I just was going through my stuff and I found my Halloween 5 tin DVD. So that's fun. I just found it. So maybe that's why it's on my mind, but it would fit. All right. And then the hottest chick is killed, Renee Estevez here, and it's done off screen. And at first, because I didn't really remember this movie, I was like, oh God, man, if the movie's going to remain like this and the kills are going to be off screen, I'm going to be very angry with Paul. But thank God the kills are not like that through the rest of the movie. Why have this kill cut? I don't get that. Maybe it just didn't work out. The kill that they had was just like unusable, so they're like, we're just going to have to do this off screen because every other kill is on screen and it's gruesome. Like fucking gruesome. And yeah, it's weird that this one's just off screen. Then, yeah, so it's like, it's a double whammy. You get the hottest chick in the movie killed almost instantly, and there's no gore. So it's like, man, what a bummer. I don't even get to see the kill, and you get rid of the hottest chick. Double whammy. And then the next kill is this little, whatever the hell they call those little paper spikes that you like shove your paper onto. These things are dangerous, man. I don't even know why those things exist. But regardless, it's on the table and the guy gets his eye shoved through. It's like a Fulci scene. Just gets his eye shoved right through it all the way down. It's badass. It's so great. And then, so Ted Raimi, I think it's Ted. Yeah, it's Ted. Who's chopping something, and he just keeps bringing the knife back and chops, brings the knife back, chops. Every single time he brings the knife back, he's a produce guy, right? So every time he brings the knife back, he's supposed to be cutting something. He was cutting watermelon earlier, but now he's just chopping something. It's supposed to be some form of produce. I don't know what. But every time he brings back his knife, there's nothing on it. No water, no nothing. What is he chopping when there's nothing on the blade? Nothing, not even like smudges on the sharp edge. Nothing. The blade is clean. It's shining, shimmering, splendor. And then he gets one in the head, which that one's fine. It's okay. Kind of, it's, at least it's on screen. I'll say that. But I do love that his headphones split and fall off of his head. That's a nice touch. If you're not going to do gore, at least come up with something cool to do in its stead. And then we get this other guy who gets stabbed and blood starts just spraying out of the gut. Now, I've said in the past that blood isn't gore. But if you're stabbed into a part of your body and blood starts coming out of it like viciously, that is gore. But just showing blood splatter on a wall for me isn't. Or if someone just like slices the neck and there's no actual like prosthetic or there's no actual like wound or anything and blood just kind of starts coming a little bit, that doesn't count as gore for me. But if you stab someone, the knife sticks into them and blood starts spraying out, that is gore. So that was okay. And then we get generic beer. We get the blue labeled lowercase letter beer period, which I always used to see on like Married with Children and all these other stuff. I love seeing that stuff, like the stand-in beer for movies. I love that stuff. And then, oh man, we get our first great kill, I guess our second great kill, but this is a fantastic kill. Holy shit. I think the eye one's good. This guy gets his head like half put into a trash compactor, and the trash compactor comes and slowly just crushes this guy's head, and it looks really good. Does it look hyper realistic or anything? No, you can tell it's fake, but it's a good fake. It's a solid fake. It's an 80s fake, and it's wonderful. Man, I loved that head crush in the compactor. Then Sam Raimi gets a hook through the mouth. That one's okay. Meh. You would think that they would save a good death coming from a splatter freaking king like the Evil Dead director or Evil Dead 2 director. You would think that they would give him a better death than that, just a hook through the mouth and a little blood comes out. Nah, not great. And then the next death is the best death in the movie. Holy shit, is this one gnarly. A guy gets a bandsaw right through this part of his face, straight across slowly as his whole face starts coming apart and his whole head goes completely off right through here. Unreal. And then she finds his head in the freezer or the refrigerator later, and like his head has been put back together. It's been cut off at the neck, the head's been put back together, but it's like on a slant, so like it's turned off kiltered. So it's like the mouth is here and like the nose is over here, and it's all split straight down the middle from where it was cut. Oh, I love it. I love it so much when she finds that head. It's just like, yes. And then the guy's body who's cut in half, and they have the freaking like sales little freaking, not a sticker, but a page or a, whatever the hell you want to call it, stuck on him. Fucking amazing. Amazing. The half off thing is just glorious because that's something you would see in a grocery store. It's witty. I love it. I love that kind of stuff. And then we find out the killer is Bill, aka Jake from Evil Dead 2. So this is a completely different role for him. He's nothing like the hillbilly in Evil Dead 2. But she hits him in the head with a bottle twice. One breaks, one doesn't. So I think at first she's kind of like half-hearting it, and then the second time she's like, fuck, I really got to get out of this, and smashes the bottle. And then, like, when he's chasing her, his whole reasoning behind why he's doing this is because he loves the store and he didn't want to lose it, and he was only 49% shareholder in the company, and that's why he needed to do this, but he got out of hand with it. He didn't realize, like, he didn't mean to do it. He was just going to kill, like, his partner, but it got out of control for him, and he just started killing everybody. But I love that. Like, he's, like, going through the aisles chasing after her. He's actually, like, picking stuff up off the shelves and like recentering it and making it look good because he loves the store so much. Good touch. This is why I'm saying the last like 10 minutes or something I really like. And then he pretends to be Danny's severed head and he's like, help me. And she comes over and he just lifts it up and it's a severed head. Great stuff. So the gore in the last 10 minutes are, you know, finishes so strong and the gore is so good that it's like, okay, absolutely, you got to check this movie out. And then the boyfriend, the ex-boyfriend, the asshole, tries to come in and help her, and he is beaten badly with this severed head, which is, of course, always funny. Now, she goes and runs out to her car and tries to get into it, but she has to use the keys. Oh, the keys! Oh, Paul. So she has the keys and she puts them in and unlocks it and she opens the door and inside is her friend. How did he get in her unlocked car and put her friend there and stay and position it in such a way? He must have went through the other door. I'm going to assume that the other door is unlocked. There we go. We have to have some kind of an explanation. Or it was locked or it was unlocked and he put it in there and locked it. And then when she came out, she was like, shit, I don't remember locking it, but it was in such a panic, she opened it up. So, I mean, there's explanations, but I was like, how did he put her in a locked car? But I guess I answered my own question. It's not impossible to answer. Just was silly. So then she stabs him in the chest, and he still, of course, comes back, and the dickhead boyfriend who's on parole comes at him with a meat cleaver and just starts whacking at him with it into the shoulder, into the chest, into everywhere. And this is when Bruce Campbell and them show up, and they train their guns on him, say they're under arrest, and the killer says, they killed everybody, and because this guy's he's on parole, and there was a call earlier saying he was trying to hurt everyone inside, and she's his ex-girlfriend, who would be possibly an accomplice of his. It looks really damning. And the movie ends with them getting pinned with the murders. Dark ending, man. A really dark ending, but this is something I've talked about in a lot of slasher movies. If you were to kill the killer, especially if they're supernatural, but this one isn't supernatural, good luck explaining it to the cops after. Now, do I think they were probably exonerated after the fact? Probably. I mean, I would think there would be so much evidence against the guy who's in the phone booth, the killer, that more than likely, but not 100%. I mean, look at the West Memphis 3. Look at lots of people who don't commit any fucking crimes and get put in prison for X amount of years, life sometimes. And then there's people who straight up did it, OJ, and they don't go to prison for that crime. I mean, they might later for something else, but yeah, world's a wild place, and that's why I drown myself in movies to escape it. So anyway, thank you to Paul Shunk. This was another fun Slasher Sunday. I'd been needing to do this one. I know there's some big fans of this one, but I'm not going to sit here and say every fucking scene worked and every character was perfect for me, because it didn't. And I don't say shit I don't mean. Some of these characters were dull. Some of this movie drags. It's not a perfect movie for me. If it is for you, amazing. If it isn't for me, but there's enough great going on to consider it a must watch. So that all being said, guys, see you next week.